hottest shows of the 90s is back on the air, and this time it is even hotter than ever before.
Yes, American Gladiators, the new main event every Monday night on NBC. The show pits amateur athletes against stunt professionals and action stars in the ultimate test of strength and endurance. Take a look.
As a former dancer for the New York Knicks, you're used to cheering from the sidelines. But now you're the main attraction. And how does it feel with everybody cheering for you tonight?
You know what, Hulk? Back in New York, I was the grandma on the team. So tonight, she's giving me a little motivational and inspiration to show her that a young girl can kick her butt.
3, 2, 1.
Well, joining us now is that grandma from tonight's American Gladiator show. Please welcome Conlon Marciniak. Hey, Kim. Great to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. No, right there. Aditi, right there.
Okay.
Kim.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I know it's a little confusing.
I know, musical chairs here.
So, wait a minute. I got to ask you about that grandma that comment.
There is no way that you could be a grandma.
No,
in any
I'm not the
universe.
grandma of the show. I'm actually one of the youngest contestants on the show.
On American
On
Gladiators,
American Gladiators,
but on the dance
yeah.
team?
Yes.
And I was a Knicks City dancer in New York for the past 5 seasons. So my competitor tonight is actually one of the oldest women on the show, and I'm paired against her as one of the youngest contestants on the show. And that was actually the first time that I saw a clip from the show, and you know, it was very scary to see that. The experience was totally insane, and tonight I get to see it with my friends and family, and America gets to watch it at the same time that I do.
So, have you watched this program? Have you always wanted to be a part of this program? Where does this fascination come from, Kim?
I mean, I've always been very athletic and sort of, because I have 3 brothers, I'm the only girl in my family, always been a tomboy. And I watched the show back in the 90s. I used to watch it all the time, and the one thing I always wanted to do was joust, because I'm a dancer, a gymnast, I've got the balance. Have you seen the jousting before? They've got the big stick with the big...
Oh, yeah.
It looks like pillows on the end of sticks.
It looks like a massive Q-tip.
Yeah, it looks like a massive
largest
Q-tip, but it's actually not as soft as I thought that it was.
Is it heavy? Because it looks really heavy. How, I mean, obviously you kind of grew up in a rough and tumble kind of household, but how do you decide this is something you wanted to do? And then how did you, once you decided that, go about doing it? How do you, did you have to go through a lot of hoops and auditions?
Yeah, it's actually a really strenuous audition, but as a Knicks City dancer, we had to audition every single year. So just going through that process kind of kept me on my toes. It's very different. You know, I grew up as a gymnast and a dancer. You know, to me, that's being athletic. But it is very different to go out there and get completely tackled and smacked in the head with those giant things. You know, so it's really, really tough. But I went to an audition in Brooklyn, New York. They're actually having auditions for season 2 already. And that was, I mean, an experience of a lifetime. I showed up and I was the smallest person there, and I said, you know, I kind of went sort of as a joke because I always wanted to be on the show, but kind of thought, you know, give it a try, but I'm probably not going to get it.
So when they picked you, being the smallest person that came to try out that day, did you think they were just, that they thought there was no way you're really going to be able to compete competitively?
A little bit. I mean, I did get to prove, you know, to myself and to them, we had to do pull-ups. We had to do pull-ups, we had to do an obstacle course with a series of up-downs and runs and a 40-yard dash, and they said that my time was really, really fast. I believed it. I felt like I was really fast. But once I got on the show and saw all the other competitors who have bulging biceps, and I mean, I got a little muscle. You see it, little muscle right there.
Little.
But compared to all the other contestants, you know, seeing that, I was wondering for a second, because you know, it's a game show and America needs to be entertained. For a second, I thought, you know, am I going to be the one that they're going to, you know, watch getting smashed and killed, you know, to kind of set an example that you really need to be athletic? But I think I did a good job.
Another thing you really need on the show is you kind of have to have a mouth on you, because you hear the trash talk on there. We heard you.
Yeah.
Is that something you had to sort of develop, or do they kind of go to you? Do they tell you what to say? I mean, how does that come about?
I mean, you kind of get an idea of the fact that it is the younger versus the older, that we kind of have to play on that. I am very bad at trash talking. I am not good at it at all. I've always been so nice, and as a matter of fact, during the show, I did keep complimenting my opponent, because my opponent is a wonderful person, you know, and I don't come from a background where I'm playing football or doing something like that, so I don't really, it's hard to get that competitive edge. I am a competitor, but I've always competed with a team, so I've always been supportive of the other person. But, you know, in the heat of the moment, being there and just getting all psyched up, yeah. You know, I kind of was feeling very competitive, so I played on it. Yeah, yeah.
And did you get to talk to her afterwards? And do you guys kind of make up and make nice afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she
What, are you
knows.
hanging out now? What's the
No,
what's the
she
deal?
lives in Texas. Yeah, they're from all over the place. Yeah, I'm here representing the East Coast. There's about 3 of us from the East Coast. So all of us, I mean, we got along so well, and we're all supportive of each other, but we were competing against each other.
Now, did you like the jousting as much as you thought you would?
I did not. I thought it was going to be so
Without
good.
telling us how the it came out.
I'm not telling you about the outcome. I got to keep my lips sealed. But like I said, I thought it was going to be like little pillows hitting my head, and I thought that I'm strong for my size. I thought that I could like just boom, really, really fast. I'll tell you, by the time you're swinging that, it's really heavy. Like you said, it really is heavy. By the time I'm swinging it like this, a gladiator who's about 30 pounds, you know, 40 pounds heavier than me, can swing it about 6 times and hit me in the head. So I think I might have had a slight concussion during the show.
I was going to ask
isn't
you if
that
you
nice?
came away
Very
with
nice.
bumps and bruises and injuries?
If anybody has watched the show, it's very scary. It's very real. It's very dangerous. 2 people hurt
It's not
themselves.
made up?
It's not made up.
Is there
2
a
people,
predetermined outcome?
No predetermined outcome. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Is there
on
a
the
waiver
show.
you sign or something?
You sign a waiver, and pretty much you sign your life away. It's like going bungee jumping, which I've never done. So this was a huge experience for me because I've never jumped out of a plane, bungee jumped. I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of drowning. So for me, this was like...
You were terrified going into it?
I was terrified going into it, but my whole goal and my whole, what do you call it, quote is don't let your fears stand in the way of your dreams. And I've sort of learned to live by that. And this was like the best experience to get me kind of to live by that.
And don't you
quote.
have connections in the pharmaceutical industry, so if anything goes horribly wrong?
Yes, I sell oxygen and hospital beds and wheelchairs and walkers and canes for a living on a daily basis.
Have you had any installed in your home recently?
No, but I had them on backup. I have them in the trunk of my car. I had oxygen ready to go because it is a very exhausting thing.
I bet. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you seem to be doing okay right now.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. It gave me, you know, the show is done. The show is over. And just being out there with all those competitors and just seeing what I could do for myself. I stopped dancing, you know, not 5 years ago. After 5 years, I stopped dancing this past season. And this was right after I stopped dancing. And now it's like a whole new thing. I want to keep on, you know, being in shape, especially after seeing my competitor, who's, I think, 46 years old. I also want to be continuing to stay like this, you know, until I'm that age and further, until I'm 130, because that's how long I'm living.
130. Well,
Yeah.
that will
Well,
be
you look
the I don't know, senior American Gladiator
Right.
show. We'll be waiting for that one. Well, Kim Marciniak, great to see you.
Nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Hey, you can check out, believe it or not, you can check out a slideshow on our website. It is the New American Gladiators. Head to our website, NBC10.com/10. Scroll down to the extras section. You may want to check that out as well.
I sure will.
All right, thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
We're back with more of the 10.